Hello, my name is Marc Ryan. I'm the Chief Strategy and Compliance Officer for MedHOK. Welcome to another of our podcasts. Today's topic is Medicare Advantage's future. Medicare Advantage is experiencing a lot of changes, not only on the financial side, but on the enrollment side. Medicare Advantage saw a major financial realignment recently, one that actually continues through the end of the decade. And here are some of those financial changes that plans are grappling with right now. First, there was a major phased-in rate reduction that moved overall compensation for MA plans nationally from an average of about 14% over the traditional fee-for-service costs to roughly zero through the end of the decade. Some rural counties will continue to see rates that are above fee-for-service costs, while some large urban communities will see a peg of about 95% of fee-for-service costs. But again, ultimately, those rates should now nationally come in at the fee-for-service costs. Risk adjustment is continuing to be refined as well. One major point is progressive changes to the coding intensity factor that was put in law and in regulation that occur through the end of the decade. In this case, the federal government was very concerned about risk adjustment rates that appeared much greater for MA plan members than those in the fee-for-service environment, and therefore they put in the coding intensity factor to reduce that. The feds argued that plans were actually arbitrarily inflating those risk adjustment rates, and the coding intensity factor is meant to reduce the disparity. The private fee-for-service program also underwent major reforms, and this has pretty much proven to be a death knell for the program, especially in rural areas. And lastly, the rates also had removal of indirect medical education payments, with the federal government arguing that the plan should not be reimbursed for this because hospitals are already being reimbursed for this in other ways. When all of these changes were actually signed into law, many plans argued that this was going to really impact MA membership and the viability of MA plans nationally. This really hasn't occurred, though, and plans seem to have adapted well to this. Notwithstanding the negative predictions on MA membership nationally, plans have continued to grow. While there was some erosion of offerings in different areas, for the most part, again, MA has at least one offering in 90+% of areas of the country. MA now represents about 1/3 of all Medicare beneficiaries, which is its highest level ever. And again, most importantly, in many of those large urban and competitive areas, MA enrollment now represents a majority of all Medicare enrollees in those counties or geographic regions. Notwithstanding, again, this financial realignment, it appears that Medicare Advantage is poised for growth well into the future. CMS has published some data related to the 2015 filings of MA bids for the plans that just went into effect for both MA and the standalone Part D sectors. 61% of current MA beneficiaries did not see a premium increase this year. The average increase was about $3. MA plans offerings are down only minimally, tied largely to consolidation in the market and things of that nature. And here's one important point: 99% of enrollees nationwide have at least one MA offering. And in urban areas, offerings continue to increase rather dramatically. Another really major important factor is the maturity of the STAR bonus program. As of this year, at least 40% of all plan offerings will be for products with a 4-star or higher rating. This is up from just 20% a few years ago, so a doubling of 4-star performing plans. And secondly, while just 20% roughly of people were enrolled in 4-star or greater plans a few years ago, now about 60% of all MA enrollees are expected to be in those 4-star plans. So again, notwithstanding some cries from MA plans that the STAR bonus program was going to be way too rigorous, it does seem to be bearing fruit in better quality scoring plans. Plans have pulled back some on added benefits in recent years due to the reduction, so there's no question about that. But I think it's important to note that enrollment increase continues for some very good reasons. One, CMS, from the CMS side, despite those pullbacks, CMS seems very satisfied that the benefit reductions are really in line with annual norms that react to things like medical inflation and annual payment rate changes and things of that nature. And CMS also notes that there are various consumer protections are included in the current law to at least limit discrimination against the sickest of beneficiaries as things are realigned. So rules such as not having cost sharing that is greater than what is in the fee-for-service system are important protections that CMS notes are in place to limit that kind of discrimination. So really, notwithstanding this financial realignment we've talked about, the business proposition for MA and standalone Part D plans is really very much being maintained. And again, that will make sure that the MA industry remains highly competitive and profitable well into the future. To maintain and even grow market share, plans appear to be willing to limit premiums in the program by absorbing the rate cuts through a combination of benefit reductions that admittedly beneficiaries are bearing and giving back at least some of their historic margin in the program. And that really is made up by enrollment growth for the plans. And for their part, again, Medicare beneficiaries still see the MA as a great value for their futures. Despite some of those reductions that they see annually, they really recognize that MA, with its expanded benefit offerings and lower cost sharing overall, is quite a bargain when you compare that to the traditional Medicare benefit, where you see a great deal of gaps in the program and generally a 20% cost sharing structure that can really have huge impact on sicker MA recipients. Thanks again for joining our podcast. Just very quickly, we wanted to tell you a little bit about our MedHOK single platform. We are a single platform for care, quality, and compliance. You can certainly learn more about our products at www.medhok.com. Thanks again. Take care.